And it looks like we are set. All right, so just a quick Q&A, a little Q&A test for those little Q&A moments throughout the presentation. There should be a little activities icon in the bottom right corner of your Google Meet screen. So it looks like this little guy here. It's got the circle, triangle, and square kind of stacked on top of each other. So during our Q&A sections, you will, so first click that activities icon and then click the Q&A icon. And then if everybody could just drop in that section where you guys are logging on from today. I'm always so curious to know. I am in South Carolina. Yeah, so we can go ahead and test that out really quick. Make sure that we're all comfortable. Awesome. Okay, I see Nicole from North Carolina. Fabulous. And oh, yes, Hannah's in Virginia. Oh, California, Amanda, that's awesome. Very, very cool. Yes, I always am so curious to see um, where our users are logging on from. Alabama, Memphis. Awesome. So we've got two from Alabama. That's awesome. Very cool, you guys. Well, thank you so much for indulging us and dropping those in the Q&A. Just want to make sure that everybody's familiar with that feature before we get into it today. Today's agenda is, of course, our Ready, Set, Summer agenda, right? So we're, almost to the finish line, getting to the end of the school year. So really thinking about ways that you can wrap up the school year and kind of finish strong, do all of those end of the year tasks, and then also get yourself to a place where you feel ready for the fall. So that going into the summer, you can kind of set it and forget it. And then, when it's July and August time and you're starting to get back into it, you feel prepared. So we're going to start from the top down. We're going to do downloading plans, performance reports, adding the new school year, adding classes, and then copying lessons as well. All right, so downloading plans. So I know that there are many schools that require teachers to turn in maybe their whole plans for the entire year. So we wanted to show you guys how to do that. So I am here on my plans page. And I'm going to go to that little send to button in the top right-hand corner there. And then this little send to dialog box is going to pop up. So I want to download it as a PDF. And from there, I can decide what I want my lessons to be laid out as. So there's a lot of different options here, but I'm going to do the week layout. And then you can also specify which items that you want to include in the plans that you're downloading. So you might want to take out your Google events, different things like that. So you can get really specific with the items that are included there. And for this example, I'm going to be downloading my entire year's worth of plans. So I'm going to hop all the way back to August 24 and fast forward to June the 6th to collect all of those plans from the whole school year. And I'm going to hit that send button in the top right corner of the dialog box. And she's going to think for a few seconds just because it's a big job. She's going to take her time. But once that is downloaded, it is going to appear in the top right-hand corner of your browser, most likely. and it's just going to show that it was downloaded. So from there, and you can see that it appears as a zip file. So that zip file is going to contain all of your plans from the entire school year. So you can see that they are divided up by week. So these are your weekly plans. So then I can click into whichever week that I need, make sure everything's there. And then going forward, you can then get that zip file to admin, to whomever you are turning that into, and then they would have your plans from there. I know that we have had a couple of questions regarding the zip file, and that's actually a newer feature that we have come out with just due to the awesomeness and the robustness of teacher plans. We are moved to the zip file format to ensure that your images are going to be all there, and your tables, graphs, all those kinds of things. But if you are in a place where you need all of your plans to be just one file, you can actually hit send to, and you can click an option to download as a Google Doc. So then all of those plans are going to go into that Google Doc, and then you can download it as just one kind of gigantic PDF from there. So that's just one thing I wanted to note. Any questions about downloading plans slash take a whack at it if you want to. Hop over in your account and familiarize yourself with the send to option, just kind of the different ways that you can download plans as well. Awesome, Kristen. I see your answer in the chat from earlier from New York. That's awesome. Fabulous. Well, if there are no questions about downloading plans, then we can carry on, head on to the next. And that's going to be our performance report. So these are going to be our student grades, things that we need to pull from our plan books to get to admin or parents. So in Planbook, there are two different kinds of performance reports that you can pull. The grades summary is more of a broad overview of all of your student grades, while the performance report is an in-depth grades report by student. So the performance report is definitely a little more in-depth. So the way that you can access those is I'm on my plans page here, and I'm going to navigate to my grades tab over here on the left-hand side. And then from there, we can see my first grade music grades here. I've got one for each grade level, K through 3, but I am going to view my kindergarten grades here for all of my grading periods. Just make sure these are all my grades that I've got. So from there, I'm going to hit this little send to icon, very similar to the one on the plans page. And we can see that for the grade summary, I can download a CSV or a PDF. So if I click the PDF, there are a couple options here. So again, the option for CSV versus PDF. If I want to select a certain grading period, I can do that here, or I can do all of my grading periods. Then I'm going to specify the class that I would like to pull, as well as the items. So do I want my attendance, assignments, assessments, standards, all of that? And I want to include all of those. So then I will hit that send button. And then there are my downloads. So I am going to click into my student grades here. So again, this is that grades summary. So it's just giving us kind of the overview here with all of my students and all of my assignments across the top here, and the grades that they received. So if I go back here and I want to pull a performance report, I want something a little more in depth, I'll hit send to, and then the performance reports there. And again, just going to enter in some more info. You can pull all of your students. You can pull students by class. You can also do individual students with these. So a couple options for you there. I'm going to go ahead and do all of my students for all grading periods, or quarter four, I guess, instead of all periods. And then for types, it's just going to ask if you want attendance, grades, all of that. You can specify, as well as for your assignments, do you want to include incomplete, missing assignments, school days, tardies, absences, that kind of thing. And then we will hit send. And then we have got those downloaded there. And so this is what the student performance report is going to look like. So I've got one for Grace Adams. It's going to have teacher name, grading period, the date that it was generated. So then it'll have the attendance summary for each child, as well as the grades summary as well. So Grace is just in this one music class for this example, but if you have a student, of course, they have like, ELA, math, etc., then their other classes would then appear as well. So same kind of thing going farther down. So there's Grace again. We got her back. And then as you scroll down, it's going to go to your other students, their absences, tardies, etc., and their grades as well for each class. So any questions about performance reporting? And take a minute and do it in your account if you would like. Okay, Kristen has a question here. Can grades be pulled in from Excel or another program like School Tool or eSchool Data, or do they have to be entered in Planbook manually? That is a great question. I am not entirely sure. I think I'll defer to Hannah, if you don't mind, Hannah.
Yeah, of course. Grades unfortunately cannot be imported in. You're correct. They have to be entered in manually. So all grades are connected to the classwork tab that you have in your plan book. And anytime you create an assignment or assessment, it can create that grade field for you. And that's kind of the only way that our grade system works. But definitely recommend like adding that to one of our suggestions, because we're always looking for like other ways to integrate programs within Planbook. So good
I
question.
do. Yeah, that's a great question. I do know that if you have an existing Google Classroom, for example, and you have assignments and assessments in a Google Classroom, that is something that can be synced in Planbook. And any of those assignments from your Google Classroom will pull over to your grades tab, and you can actually grade them from there as well. So there is that one point of integration connectivity with the Google Suite. But yeah, that's actually newer. That's a newer feature.
Mhm.
Awesome, guys. Well, moving right along, if there are no more performance reports questions, I will go ahead and hand it over to Hannah for our next couple sections.
Hey everyone. All right, so now I'm going to go over kind of moving past this school year in your Planbook account into the new one. So every time that your school year ends, you have to add a new one because you might have uh, new classes, that your classes might be scheduled differently, all that good stuff. So when your year is finally done, or you can do this literally at any point in your account. You can have as many school years on as you would like. But when you're ready to add any new year, you can head over to that plan book tab there from your main plans page. And then you have a page near the bottom called school years that you can click on. And then at this page, you'll see any past years that you have, and they'll be labeled by school or teacher, depending on if you've added them or if your school's added them. Um, and then once you're on that school years page, if you're adding a new school year, you can click that plus icon in the top right. And when you'll do that, you'll either get a screen that's saying, great news, your admin has created a school year for you, and you can click the one that they've already added in. But if you're not connected to a school account, or maybe your admin hasn't added one, that's totally okay. You can create your own year, and you'll get this add school year screen here. So on this screen, you'll type in the label for your year. Most teachers just do 2025, 2026, or I guess it would be 2020. Yeah, that is right. Oh my gosh. And then you would put in your start date and your end date. And then if you have multiple lesson layouts in your account, you can select which one you want to be your default main layout. And then at the bottom, it'll ask you if you want the classes that are in your current year to be copied over or not. So automatically, all of them are going to be copied over, but you can either select to not copy a couple of them, or you can click none to start with a fresh new school year. For this example, we'll copy most of them over and click continue. Now on the second screen, it's asking what content from those classes you want copied over. Automatically, it's going to say none. So it's kind of the opposite of your classes. But you can click that all to copy basically any content from your past year into this current year, regardless if you have it or not. Or you can look through your options and deselect anything you don't want to copy. Like maybe if you have student accounts and you want new students, you can deselect that students tab and leave everything else selected. And then there's a add your new school year button at the bottom, and it'll automatically, based on your settings, add that new school year as your default year. And when you go back to your plans page, you'll see that new school year. And if you, you'll see anything that you decided to copy over is going to be there. And you can always go back to any of your past school years as well from that school drop down at the very top. That's going to allow you to go back to your previous school years as far back as you have been in Planbook. Any questions about the new school year, adding it? You're in your account, feel free. Like I said, you can add the new school year at any time since you can always go back to it. Feel free to try that out. Leela, if you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask as well. Either one works. Leela, I don't know if you're trying to talk, but you're still muted. If you want to unmute yourself, oh, you know. Okay, sorry about that.
Oh no!
Well, feel free if you're able to send a message to do that. And if you still can't, you can always email us as well. We'll be happy to answer that anytime. Of course. All right. Any other questions about the school year? All right. I think we'll go on to our next section then. And we'll have time at the end as well to ask as many questions as you'd like. All right, so next, if you added your new school year, but you decided not to copy your classes over, either you're teaching a whole new set, or maybe even this is just your first time getting in there, whatever the reason may be, you can always still manually add your own classes into your new year. So to do that, once you start in your on your plans page, you can head over to that menu bar on the left side again, and you have a classes page. It's about the third one down. And from your classes page, this is where your schedule is going to be. In the top right, you have a plus icon that says add class. So that's how you can start by adding your first class. And then you'll want to start by giving it a name. And then that little gear icon allows you to go to your class editor screen. From there, you have lots of options to completely customize the class. Sorry, I'm not talking fast enough. And then from there, you can determine when you want this class to end or start. You can select a different layout. So if there's a different layout you want for one class than the one on your school years page that you determine, you can do that here as well. And then you'll want to put in your schedule, so the days and times that you are going to be teaching this class that you want to enter plans in for. You can go down, click that schedule, and that custom icon allows you to completely choose which days and times to put in for your class. The times are completely customizable, and that little copy icon to the right copies it to each day of the week. The color palette at the top allows you to customize it a little bit more. And then anytime you're done with that class editor screen, it'll be that check at the top to save it to your plans. And then you should see it appear on that grid view on the right side. And then it will be in order of the times that you have on your plans page as well. So then for each class you have after that, you just go back to that plus icon in the top right to add the rest of your schedule. Any questions about your schedule, adding any new classes, or even editing any classes that you copied over? Feel free to either unmute or type in that Q&A or the chat, whatever you'd like.
It's giving me the option of saying like display days. Should I do that or no?
Yes, so display days on your school years page are going to be what appears on your plans page. So if you teach Monday through Friday, then you typically want those to also be displayed on your plans page. We have some instances where there's like a weekend that people are putting in plans, things like that, which is why we have that option, or maybe a day of the week that you don't teach that you can hide from your view. But if you're a typical Monday through Friday, you want to make sure those display days are selected on your school years page. Great question.
Leela, your question, my whole schedule will change in times and days, but sections are the same. I don't get the schedule until August. Is it better to wait, or can I adjust after the change? and Hannah, if you have a differing opinion, please feel free to weigh in. But I think my recommendation would be to go ahead and put in your sections if your sections are going to remain the same, because you can always go back to that classes page and you can update, days that they meet, times that they meet, that kind of thing. So at least you can kind of front load the work now of just getting those sections in, and then you can always reschedule as you need.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was going to mention as well, Leela. I don't know if you already have classes into your year now, but when you go to copy that year, you can decide to still copy your classes, but you can deselect the days and times and then add those in later, like Shelby said.
Okay, I fixed the phone. Sorry. Thank you for that.
Oh, yay!
Oh,
Yeah.
yay! Awesome.
Sorry. Yeah, so I just used it for the first time this year and it took hours to get the schedule in. I have a
Right.
very strange schedule. So, they're not going to give us a new times after it's all approved. So it's not that difficult to change it then. Is that what you're saying after the fact?
Correct.
Mhm.
Yep,
Okay,
exactly. You'll
great.
go
Thanks.
back to that same page and just edit the class instead,
Okay,
and
that's
then you can
perfect.
just
I
quickly enter
appreciate
the
it.
times.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, great question, Leela. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, we've definitely seen some crazy school schedules out there working at this job, and we're like, what are your poor schools doing to you?
Yes, what? Yes, if you guys ever, you have a schedule change and you're like, I have no idea how to input this into Planbook, please email us support@planbook.com. Like Hannah said, we've seen some pretty wacky ones and we've gotten pretty creative in terms of getting those schedules in there. So just let us know.
All right, I think we can move on to the next section. And
All right.
so similar to like your classes, how when you create your new school year, you can copy those over. You can also decide if you want to copy the lessons with it as well. So if you're teaching the same lessons and you just plan on doing a little update to them as the year goes on, I would recommend copying them over. But maybe, you don't want every single lesson copied over. That's okay. You can still keep them in your current school year or your past school year. And then we'll show you how you can copy an entire year's worth of plans into your account after you've already created that year. So when you're first in your account and you have that class created, you'll want to head in the top right to that copy icon. It's to the right of that plus icon, and that'll bring you to your copy screen. Now on the left side, on the copy from side, you'll see you have a year drop down that you can select. And on that year drop down, you'll be able to see all your past years. So you can select your most recent year or if you have plans in a previous year. And then you'll want to select which class you want to copy those plans from. Now your entire year from that class will then appear. You can put in the dates for specific lessons, but since in this example, we're going to copy the whole year of plans, we'll leave that blank and it'll automatically copy from the first day to the end day. On the copy to side, you can then select the new class that it will be going into. And then the first option will start inserting these plans on the very first day. So even if it's not the exact same date, that's okay. It'll still align your lessons in order. And then you'll click that blue copy lessons icon there, and you'll see how all the lessons from my past year now went into this side. And when you go to your plans page, you'll see all those lessons copy right over into your new year. All right, any questions about copying lessons or anything else at all that we went over today? Or anything about getting your account set up for next year, just let us know. I believe that was our last section to go over. So any and all questions are definitely welcome. All right. Well, Shelby, if you want to go to the next screen, I'll just show everyone where if you do happen to have any further questions that maybe we didn't go over here in this presentation, we have lots of ways that you could still find some information. We have our brand new help center there that you can access. We have our socials, as well as you can always email us or give us a call if there's ever any questions that you do have or that may come up throughout. We're here all summer in the beginning of the school year as well. So just definitely feel free to reach out to us. Shelby and I will stay on for a couple more minutes just in case there are any questions still that you want to get out there. But I know we both just want to thank you so much. I know right now is probably either a really busy time for you if you are ending school soon. So definitely appreciate you being here today and staying with us through it.
Yes, thank you guys so much for your time. I know it's, that final mad dash to the finish, the sprint to the finish. So we really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Sorry about the glitches. I couldn't reset the phone. It kept kicking me out, but I appreciate it. Good places to start. So I'll
Yeah,
look.
no worries.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much
Thank
for
you.
joining us.